So the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Belio Kipsang, is this morning in Baringo County on a tour of schools there. Our schools reopen. So Joanne Latin is there for us. Joanne Latin, good morning. Kindly paint for us a picture of what is happening in Baringo County.
Well, a very good morning to you, Brenda, from Baringo County. As you can see, it is a very sunny morning here in Baringo, as it would be expected. As you rightly said, PS Belio Kipsang is actually expected here, and we understand that he's already in one of these buildings here, and he is expected to address us later on after being briefed on what's happening in Baringo. Remember, Baringo has suffered a lot due to the swelling lakes phenomenon. Remember, Lake Bogoria has burst its banks. Lake Baringo has also burst its banks, and soon scientists were predicting that soon they might actually merge, and this has really affected many residents here in Baringo. Many schools have been submerged as we speak. We understand that it's over 20 schools, and from tomorrow, remember the schools were opened yesterday and many children were supposed to go back to school, but we understand that a majority, over 4,000 of them, are still at home because they cannot access their schools because a majority of the schools are in the waters, so you have to use a boat probably to get there. And when you get there, you can't alight from the boat because the schools are already full with water. Some are up to the rooftops. So yes, it is a very serious situation here in Baringo. And we'll be listening to Belio Kipsang to understand what the government is actually planning to do concerning the young ones who are supposed to report back to school. Remember, in other parts like Nairobi, Kisumu, Eldoret, where schools are in good condition, the students are currently ongoing with their learning. But here in Baringo, a majority of the schools are still closed because the children cannot access the schools. So, well, just the second day after the schools opened, the students would have reported back, but then as it would be understood, they cannot access these places. So, well, that is the situation, the bad situation here in Baringo. Remember, many parts of Baringo have been experiencing a lot of issues when it comes to flooding, and the government was actually considering major issues. The scientists are on the ground currently to see how they are going to sort the swelling lakes phenomenon. Remember, Lake Bogoria is a salty lake, while Lake Baringo is a freshwater lake. If at all they are going to meet anytime soon, the ecosystem is going to be affected, as well as the residents who are living along those lakes. So, well, the situation here is not as good as it would be expected. But for the school children who are planning to come back to school, who are probably planning to do the exams in March, it is a really sad situation, especially for the candidates. Remember, the KCPE and the KCSE students are going back to school in other parts of the country. But here in Baringo, they are still at home. They are still trying to do what they can to ensure that they catch up with the syllabus. So, well, the situation is not as good. And we'll be listening to Belio Kipsang to see if he has a proper solution to this. Or rather, we understand also that the schools that have been affected, a majority of the students will be moved to schools which are not affected by the floods. So the situation, as you can imagine, remember COVID-19 is still, the cases are still rising. So the students will actually might contract COVID-19 in the other schools because remember, if you transfer like 80 students from here to take to another school, that means the population will increase in that place. And if at all there is a case of COVID-19, it might actually mean it is a disaster. So, well, the situation here in Baringo, as you understand, Brenda, as you rightly said, is that most of the residents, as well as the schools, as well as facilities such as hospitals, have been affected by floods. But we'll be keeping you updated as these events unfold, and we'll be trying to speak to Belio Kipsang to also understand that there are students who have been chased away from schools because of school fees. But remember, CS Magoha yesterday said that the students are not supposed to be chased away from school because of lack of fees. So we'll be listening to Belio Kipsang to understand whether the government will take action on such head teachers who are actually chasing away students. Remember, most parents were affected by COVID-19. Some lost employment, even as we speak in parts like Nakuru, where business premises were demolished. Many people lost their jobs. So This means that most parents will not be able to pay their school fees. And if at all you send a student home, they might not come back anytime soon. So, well, a matter of issues that we'll be trying to ask Belio Kipsang once he comes out and addresses the press. But for now, Brenda, it's back to you in studio from this rich county of Baringo.
Jonathan, always a pleasure hearing